Yeah, no. What are we doing here? Make sure you don't overheat. It's a long day. What's that?
You have ice on your beard.
I know. That's what I'm going to look like in another 5 years. I asked about you a couple of weeks ago. Like, send me your scope. I guarantee I'll test it in some pretty ridiculous cold. He's like, don't worry, we've tested it.
Nice. I like to hear that.
Never experienced.
My Minox is being weird in the cold.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Like, not unlike electronics, mechanical parts all change size. Like,
of course, yeah.
And these things are built with extreme tight tolerances.
Yeah.
So therefore,
something's bound to bind or
exactly.
Ready for the Arctic winter.
Yeah.
What do you think of my face, my neck warmer, face warmer? I will say, as much as everyone hates COVID, it does have its advantage in the winter.
Hi everybody, we're here when it's stupid cold for the first ORPS of 2022, and it's minus 35. I think they said it was actually minus 38, feels like. Brutal. These ones are actually expired. So I woke up at like 5:30, I opened them all because I know they take longer to activate. So I have like 8 of these, just like in random pockets.
Matt called me a so I was like, yes, I'm coming.
Yeah, I was like, hey,
I spent like $300 on like long johns. And
no, this is like a couple of weeks ago.
And hand warmers.
So it's funny because I messaged you, the other Colin, and Nick, and all of you said it's too cold, you're not gonna come. And I was like, yo, just come.
Read the forecast.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the forecast is accurate. Well, I was hoping, realistically, even if it was 10 degrees warmer, I'd still be miserable right now.
They're trying to sponsor me. I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't have Instagram. I don't have Facebook. But I shoot okay pretty good sometimes.
Shoot okay pretty good sometimes.
I'm just gonna run this thing till it dies.
Hopefully, is it done?
Yeah.
Like the rest of us?
Yeah. How you feeling, Nick?
Antarctic Sniper Training Series?
Yeah. Arctic Warfare Training Series.
Exactly. The faster I empty the mag, the faster I can put my gloves back on.
Nope.
Is that impact?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't hear it.
Every time.
Impact!
So it always takes him two.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, it's frozen!
Set it to 50 and leave it there. Yeah. It's a good rule, like all the time.
Oh, it's gonna take 3 this time.
Impact!
Impact!
The last one!
Alright. This one's for the sponsors. You ready?
Yeah.
Closing my eyes.
Smile when you get.
Oh. Oh. Oh, jeez.
Stop
It's frozen.
it!
It's
Stop
frozen.
it!
No, it's good. It's good. Just close it. Close the bowl.
Take the mag out.
What's wrong with it? Oh, there's one in the chamber?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, baby!
Impact!
90!
I'm just seeing if this will work. My semi doesn't want to shoot at all.
Yeah, because of the cold?
Yeah. He just wants to keep stopping.
What kind of issue?
He's jamming.
Yeah, man, this cold really does things to our rifles. How stiff are the dials on your...
There we go, missed one.
Yeah, in the cold I can hardly turn my my turns.
Not too bad, but this is terrible. That's a big one.
How's it going, Hashem?
Oh, I'm having a great time.
Nice. How cold are you though?
Cold enough that I'm starting to question my decision-making ability.
Yeah, I think we all are.
I don't know why I'm dialing.
It's at 25, so, you know. I'm actually not going to hit anything because my gunner can't group right now.
What were you grouping at 50?
Like 5 inches. Yeah. I have a theory. I think it's because the firing pin is going really slow.
Yeah.
And when it's not a consistent strike, it just goes everywhere. Yeah, it's brutal.
It's all kind of
Impact! Just hit it at the top, you can still see it. That was on camera. Come closer, it's a really wide screen. That's awesome. You look like you've been in Alaska for 20 hours or something. Okay, let me knock it down. I can't knock it down, my gun. You shoot it. You want to shoot it? Like, actually. See where my rounds are going. It's insane. They're going like 3 inches right. Yeah, you're right. And keep shooting. You'll see the group is insane. Do you see that though?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's not consistent at all. It's insane.
Yeah, no, well, mine is looking like
Shotgun.
But like,
Like a
but you see, your same point of aim, it's going like all over the place.
This is the point.
Oh, hit it!
Maybe it's one nothing for me.
This is actually ridiculous. Ugh.
25 yards with a fucking $5,000.
I hit it!
I'm just gonna keep chirping you, that's what you need.
But you saw that group, right, Kevin?
What?
You saw that group, right?
It's going like 2 inches.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Yes, sir. Impact.
Oh, now it's stuck up top.
Yeah, that's what I had to deal with. Oh, well done.
Impact?
Impact.
Impact.
Hard bolt close there.
Yeah, it's really stiff.
Impact.
Oh, it's stuck up top.
For the sponsors, this shot.
Oh, baby.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Well done.
Send it, Brandon. Send it. Impact.
The ice in your eye.
God.
Impact. Impact.
Can you hit the same one?
No, you got to move down the line. Yeah. Impact. Impact.
Nice. Hey, Pascal.
Hold on. There we go.
Is that a light on the top of your...
It is.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, man.
Super handy at like 6 a.m.
Let's see. You're shooting the deuce right now, right?
Yeah, actually I got the deuce in the carbon fiber chassis this time.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Oh, okay, nice. So yeah, the thing about the aluminum chassis in the cold is they hurt your hands.
Yeah.
Because they're so cold. Like my hands hurt after touching all the ACCs and whatnot.
So that was one of the key factors yesterday.
In deciding what chassis to use?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart. Carbon fiber is nice and warm.
It was either that or the XRS.
It's actually warming up.
Wrong one.
No, it's actually getting warmer than what it was this morning.
You're right, it's minus 37 instead of minus 40.
Yeah.
You're right.
How cold are you calling?
Just a bit, but
Yeah.
not bad.
Oh, you got a case stuck.
Hey Matt, does that mean you got all my boogers on camera?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Well, you had your mask on, didn't you?
Very last one on the right now. That tiny little fucking thing.
This is for the sponsors. Last shot.
Hey, it's an magnet.
Oh, is it? Is there one in the chamber?
And my COVID mask is a little crap.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, it's all iced up, huh? Classic. Oh good, oh good.
I feel so miserable. I didn't go
Yeah, scream it loud or cold.
Back up. My eyeball's frozen shut.
How was the match?
I think I did surprisingly well.
Nice.
Or everyone just had more problems than I.
All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed the little bit of match footage I was able to get yesterday at our first ORPS match for 2022. It was extremely cold. We haven't got much snowfall this year. I think our first large snowstorm, snow dump we're supposed to get is actually tomorrow on Monday, but fairly little on the snow side so far. But the temperatures have been quite cold, but it was forecasted to be around minus 30 and minus 35 with the wind chill, which turned out to be quite accurate actually. When I arrived to the match yesterday morning, I quickly checked the temperature and it was minus 38 Celsius with the wind chill and around minus 32 ambient temperature. So it was quite extremely cold. Where I live here in the Ottawa area, it's not uncommon to see minus 30-degree temperatures. You know, we'll usually get a week or two of those temperatures each winter, and minus 40 degrees Celsius with the wind chill is also not unheard of. We'll get a couple days here and there, but it was just unlucky that our first match of 2022 landed on one of these extremely cold days. I was surprised of the turnout we actually still got. We got about 20 shooters come out. Some of the shooters that weren't quite well prepared enough actually showed up and ended up leaving before the match even started, just because if you're not dressed appropriately, you can easily get frostbite, especially any exposed skin on your face or hands is at severe risk of that, and obviously you don't want to mess around with frostbite. We decided to cancel the afternoon match because it was pretty unreasonable to be outside. Again, us living in this area, we're pretty used to extreme cold temperatures, but when it gets that cold, we generally don't just go outside for extended periods of time. But those of us who did shoot were quite the good sport about it. We were making jokes and trying to be a little bit more lighthearted to get through the cold temperatures, and I think everyone still had a great time shooting. First though, I do want to mention that basically everything with the battery died. That's why I couldn't really do my normal style of match recap video, because my main camcorders instantly died. There's like a little battery indicator that tells me how many minutes approximately is left in the battery, and it was dropping by 15 minutes every like 30 seconds. So they lasted maybe 2 minutes tops, and after that I knew I wasn't going to be able to get normal footage. Even the shot timers and stopwatches that we use to normally time the stages for our 2-minute par times in these competitions were not working. They immediately died. So what we ended up doing was we just said, shoot the stages, you know, just don't make it unreasonable, just go through them as you normally would in terms of your pacing for shooting a stage. And we were at such a disadvantage shooting in this extreme cold, all bundled up and stuff anyway. I don't really think the par times matter, and the scores kind of reflected that, but it's just interesting seeing that. Also, the score tablets were not used. We had to score on paper, and people's cell phones were dying, you know, as they were trying to gather their dope and whatnot. So basically anything with the battery was not survivable. The only way I actually managed to get footage that you saw earlier was with my GoPro, which I'm very impressed. The actual battery in the GoPro instantly died like everything else, but I hooked up an external battery pack, and I put that battery pack in a glove with one of those heat packs in it, and that's the only way I was able to acquire video footage. All right, now I want to discuss a little bit about the gear, equipment, and the ammunition issues I was seeing in the extreme cold. Generally speaking, I know most of the rifles on the firing line are very reliable, even down to, you know, -20 normal winter temperatures. But immediately what I saw on the firing line when we went to start zeroing our rifles was light strikes. It was light strike galore. Everybody was experiencing it. Didn't matter what rifle it was, CZ, Tikas, Voodoos, semis, everyone was experiencing light strikes pretty severely. Some people had to recock their bolt handle 2, 3, 4 times for the round to go off, which obviously is just due to the firing pin spring. It's not expanding the same way from the compressed position in such extreme temperatures, and my rifles were no different. I could actually feel that when I went to fire off a round, when I pulled the trigger, it was a very minor difference, but you can tell that the firing pin is not going forward as quickly as it usually would, and obviously that's going to lead to a lot of light strike. A suggestion of that would be to make sure you don't have heavy grease or oil in your action and bolt for, again, extremely cold temperatures, but that didn't matter. I already knew that, and I stripped out all the oil from my bolt and just put a very, very light coat of light oil, and it was still light striking. I don't think anything would have prevented that. It's just a matter of you know, this equipment working in such extreme cold. I don't think these rifles are designed to be fully functional in such extreme temperatures anyway, so I don't think that's a fault of the design really. It's just an interesting thing that I saw. Going on to the scopes, this was also giving some people issues. Not so much the elevation and windage turrets. These are generally still quite functional in the cold, and that's what I found in the past, but it's more of the smooth dials that have the tension from, I guess, rubber O-rings and whatnot. Those really bind up in the cold. Again, some worse than others, but the magnification ring and the parallax adjustment are the two that was giving people a lot of issues. Magnification rings can already be quite tight, but in the cold they get really, really tight to the point where sometimes they bind up, and a lot of people could not even move their magnification ring. It was funny trying to see people, you know, crank their magnification rings and realize that they basically were frozen in place. So now I want to discuss what I found to be the most interesting aspect of the extreme cold temperatures and our equipment, and that's how it affected the ammunition. So just to kind of give you the scenario, in the morning we zeroed. I only shot maybe 3 or 4 shots. The group was pretty horrific. It was like 2 inches at 50, but at least it was kind of in the middle. So I said, all right, I'll call that zeroed enough. I shot 2 stages. Now, the lighting conditions with the sun coming from behind us was perfect in seeing our rounds, and you could see exactly where you're missing off target. And I was seeing my rounds go everywhere. I was missing 2 inches off the left one shot, 3.5 inches off the right, and low on the next shot. And it was very confusing. It was a little windy, but nowhere near enough to push me that far off target. And I remember I was shooting a 75-yard target, and my rounds were going all over the place. It was not wind. You know, I'm not the best shooter out there, but it definitely wasn't me. I'm a better shot than that, I promise you. So that was frustrating. I shot my second stage, and same thing. I was seeing my shots go wild. So I decided, okay, I don't know if something maybe came loose in the cold or the scope's acting up. So I went back to the zeroing board at 50 with the CZ here that I was running, and I printed a 5 or 6 inch group on that zero board at 50 yards. I kid you not. It was pretty disgusting, a horrific group, rounds going everywhere. Again, I'm holding dead center the entire time. And so I was like, all right, something is up here. This is not gonna get me any points in the match. I'm just gonna be wasting ammo. So I packed up the CZ and I brought out the Voodoo, which I had already acclimatized. A shooter was actually gonna borrow my Voodoo for the day, but he actually was one of the guys that ended up going home because he was just feeling too cold. So I brought out the Voodoo and I shot 50 yards again with 5 rounds. And I kid you not, I printed like a 6 inch group, rounds going each way. You know, it wasn't consistently low and left. It was just like one up here, one down there, one over here, one where I was aiming. It was very, very strange. And you know, I had checked all the torque specs on, especially on the Voodoo, because I was lending it to another shooter, so I wanted to make sure it was going to be functioning nice for him. So I checked all my torques and everything. I knew everything was fine. So it really comes down to the ammunition. Unfortunately, I didn't bring anything else besides SK Long Range Match, which is what I had tested just a couple days earlier in about -10-degree weather, and it was functioning fine. So I was very surprised about that. You know, at that point I knew I wasn't going to be able to be shooting any stage well, but I shot a few more stages and I was seeing the same thing. I actually shot those stages going forward with the Voodoo, and rounds are going everywhere. So I decided, you know, to just have a bit of fun. That's why I was more or less walking around with the camera instead of focusing on the match. And then I started asking shooters who were also doing substantially worse than what they usually would, like myself, right? What ammo they were using. And two guys in particular, Pascal and Thomas, who again usually shoot pretty good, they were doing pretty bad, and they were also shooting SK long range match and experiencing these crazy flyers all over the place. I was like, okay, that's kind of strange. It's definitely ammunition related, because there's no way 4 rifles are you know, all just breaking and sending flyers everywhere at the same time. Then I asked guys who were performing about the same that they usually would in normal temperatures, and they were all running Ely, which was really, really interesting, because I have heard before that Ely is more temperature stable than SK. From my cold weather testing before, I didn't find SK too bad. It is more temperature sensitive in terms of its velocity, but it never had given me issues in terms of worse flyers and stuff like that. And I really think that, again, this is all just conjecture from my own anecdotal evidence, but I really think it takes a really extreme temperature, probably below -25, for the SK stuff to really start being affected greatly in its performance. And I don't understand yet why we were getting flyers that were going left and right as opposed to just bad velocities where it usually be vertical stringing. But it was really, really interesting, because it wasn't just happening to me. Now, other people using SK did okay. I know one guy was shooting pistol match and he actually ended up placing 3rd. So it can't just be SK. I think there's something more to this. Perhaps long range match has a different type of powder in it that reacts differently in the cold. There's so many variations, or pardon me, variables that could affect what we were seeing. But it was really interesting to me that people experiencing these crazy flyers and really bad groups at 50 were shooting SK long range match, and the people that were doing well and shooting more normally were usually using Ely ammunition. So it's just something I wanted to bring up. I thought it was really interesting, and this is something that maybe I could test, but I really don't have any plans or desire to, because that means I'd have to go out on another day when it's below -30, and to test lots of ammo when it's that cold is just not something I'm going to do. Furthermore, Thomas basically decided in the future, if it's below -25 around there, we're just going to cancel the match. So it's not like we're going to be shooting matches in -38 degrees Celsius often anyway. So it's not something I really want to look into further, but it's something that was very interesting for the day. Perhaps another thing that I was thinking about was, again, this is all just conjecture. We all know that the firing pins were not coming forward at consistent velocities, and we were getting a lot of light strikes. They were going slower and whatnot. So perhaps this ammunition is also more sensitive to how inconsistent your firing pin is hitting the rim. Maybe the priming compound and how it ignites the actual powder in the casing, how that interacts in the cold is different than Ely or other lots of SK. Just, again, a lot of different variables to think of, and it's something that I don't really want to test. But now I know if I have another extremely cold temperature match in the future for some reason, I'm probably going to bring Ely and see if I fare a little bit better. But, again, from what I've seen just yesterday, my anecdotal evidence shows that SK long range match, for some reason, not in the cold, but in the extreme cold, performs wildly to the point where you can't really shoot a match. In fact, I didn't even end up shooting all 5 stages because I couldn't hit anything. My rounds were just going everywhere. So I decided to just have fun and hang out and talk to guys. But beyond that, I still had a good time yesterday. It was quite the experience. Not something I would want to do often, but it was pretty interesting nonetheless. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed my little breakdown here of the match. It was very cold. If you've never experienced that type of temperature, it's really hard to describe. Every time you breathe in, your nose hairs are freezing. We had guys who had their eyes freezing shut, basically. They had ice forming on their eyebrows and eyelids. Thomas looked pretty funny with his beard full of ice before the match started. But all the issues with the rifle and the scopes and the ammo just made it for a pretty fun time nonetheless. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. If not, I will see you in the next video. Take care. Cheers.